Hello and welcome back. We are now looking at Mass Effect series. So of course we have all 4 games lined up for today just to take a look how they look, talk about how the graphic looks like. I'm not even gonna go into all the controversy about what and how should be, would be, how it was executed, stuff like this, because to be completely fair, I never understood those people who have the issue with Mass Effect games saying my choices didn't matter, my character couldn't do this, I didn't intend that. Okay, I mean, I think those people need to have this expectation from the game kinda, lowered a bit. This is not... I mean, when it comes to games, you kinda need to understand that you are playing someone else's creation, okay? So, if you are so hell-bent on one certain setting or one certain choice and you are unable to enjoy the game without this one certain thing, that kind of says something about your psychological state, in my opinion. I mean, I haven't stopped playing games as a franchise just because they remove a feature or they add features, because that would mean that I couldn't play any games anymore, like at all. So I simply just don't understand. But again, who am I to judge? Not just simply something I never understood, specifically when reading about Mass Effect. So let's take a look at this. Well, I would say first of them. I can't really say it's a masterpiece. Created in 2007, and so far it's actually nothing really for us to do here. Graphical options are scarce at best. So we have particle effects, resolution, which you need to hunt for, because if you drop down the menu, it only goes up to like 1280 times 900 or something. And dynamic shadows, yes please, of course. Texture detail, ultra high, filtering mode, anti-subject, well, I mean, that's the best we can get. No vertical sync, motion blur, yes, film grain, yes. So let's apply this. Luckily, we don't have to restart the game for changes to apply. And of course, we have the 1080 Ti, and let's take a look how it actually looks and feels and plays in general sense. So I'm gonna resume, and well, let's see what we can squeeze out for a little bit at least. Okay, so we're on the ship, as we can see, and technically it's not really that bad. So let's look how the game looks in full HD. To be completely fair, it looks pretty good for 2007. 2007 is also the year the first Crysis released. So, of course, this is no Crysis, but in general idea how all of this was made and the storyline that we have to, well, we'll follow eventually, obviously. This was pretty big deal. Like, you can literally see the reflections on the doors, stuff like this. Mass Effect was never really the, I would say, demanding title, but it did require a bit of hardware for the upcoming parts. Right, so here's the almighty space map, which we well, need to visit, so let's see if we can actually just go somewhere. Oh. Looks like we need to go somewhere else. Only the commanding officer. I think this is it. Here we go. So obviously we have different races, and well, I'm just gonna skip through this. A lot of people were complaining about the facial animations or the movement of the characters and also the choices that you get while you're playing, and I don't know.
I've never been there.
For me, this was like a pretty simple dialogue wheel. I mean, no one can possibly tell you how it all will play out, at least at the first time. So, in a grand scheme of things, I usually just went with what I felt appropriate, and even if the character was voicing it in a complete abstract way, which is very apparent with Andromeda, I wasn't mad, because again, as much as you wanted to say exactly what you told the character to do, you kind of have to expect that there must be some plot twists in there, so yeah.
What's the payload?
A research team on Eden Prime.
What else can you tell me?
So let's just, I mean, look at the character models. They are pretty decent for 2007. So honestly, I don't know. Fully maxed out, full HD.
Nihilus isn't just here for the beacon. He's also here.
What's going on, Captain?
The Spectres.
Okay, so of course, all the things and stuff like this. Apparently, we are being
Just give the word.
proposed to be the Spectre now.
Transmission from Eden Prime, sir. You better see this.
Bring it up on screen.
So let's take a look. Oh, those looks like husks. Yep, they are husks. So the first conflict that apparently we are meeting, and it kind of sets the motion for the whole game. Unfortunately, I cannot skip this, but I know that eventually we're just gonna go down there and take a look, and this is where the actual game will begin when it comes to graphical fidelity. However, do not expect too much, to be completely fair. This is overall 2007 title, and it wasn't made to look good. It was more about the gameplay, the combat, the squad commands, the interactions, the possible endings, multiple choices. And I must say, it actually managed to do this pretty goddamn well. So, I don't know. A lot of people are just not appreciating what we have.
Status report.
17 minutes out, Captain. No other Alliance ships in the area.
Take us in, Joker, fast and quiet. This mission just got a lot more complicated.
A small strike team can move quickly without drawing attention. It's our best chance to secure the...
And here we are going for the beacon.
Grab your gear and meet us in the cargo hold.
I don't know. The most surprising thing would be actually that Mass Effect 1 runs on Windows 10 without any issues. In comparison to Assassin's Creed series, which as we know is made by Ubisoft, and they basically cockblock you if you have something new. Also, I actually did get cockblocked by Ubisoft while trying to play Odyssey, because I wanted to check one very interesting thing, and they updated the Uplay to a Ubisoft Connect, and you guessed it, I cannot launch my games anymore. So, I don't know, I think Ubisoft needs to be taken back to school.
You coming with us?
I move faster on my own.
Nihilus will scout out ahead. He'll feed you status reports throughout the mission. Otherwise, I want radio silence.
Ready and able, sir.
The mission's yours now, Shepard.
Okay, so here we go. So our GPU is doing absolutely nothing, chilling at 11%, and we're getting 62 frames, which I do believe this game is kind of frame locked anyway. Oh, some weird frame dips. So you have our N7. That's pretty much all there is. So as you can see, this kind of brings back the Star Commando vibe. It kind of looks okay. Clearly enemies, right? Also, when it comes to accuracy of the guns, that doesn't really matter here too much. It's kind of like a Halo stuff, just spray and pray. You can get a bit more accurate if you're using a sniper rifle and stuff, but overall, it's not really that bad, I would say. So we have the main weapon and that. Yeah, cool. So as you might imagine, the textures are exactly as expected of 2007. Nothing fancy, no HD textures, nothing like that. A bit of green grass, rocks, just enough to know that those are rocks. Ooh. Oh, we actually do have a sniper rifle, which is very well, I'm not too happy about it for the simple reason that I haven't played this game for years, man. I definitely... Oh, we have a level. Continue. I don't know, that is fine. I'm not gonna level up anything. And we have some shields as well. Is that a grenade I just tossed around? What in the... Oh, that was a grenade actually. And looks like he's dead as fuck.
Rip right through his shields. We're not a chance.
Sometimes Marines die. The rest of us just have to carry on.
Aye, aye, sir.
So of course the moral choice is you could be a bit nicer to the guy and stuff. However, where exactly did the dead guy go? Oh well, I mean he was here just a second ago unless we moved on. But this is what it means to move on in 2007. It just your problems just disappear. So let's take a look at how everything else looks. And to be honest, it doesn't really look very nice. Can't really say that it's ground or water. Oh. I think we're throwing thermal clips. That would be my idea of things, and I still cannot pinpoint. The objects, as you can see, literally no clear textures because it's not supposed to look pretty because you cannot visit it. So it's kind of like just filling the empty space beyond, and that's basically all there is. I mean, I don't know. I still like the way the movement is made. You can literally see the screen kind of shakes a bit when you run, so it gives that extra immersion. And as I said, little things matter a lot when it comes to game design. But again, this is still 2007, still fun to replay, still to choose different options as it replies, and you know, just see how you get on with that. But yeah, I mean, is it worth to replay in 2020? Hard to say. I would say yes, just for the sake of nostalgia. Also, just to see how much we have improved when it comes to third person aiming and shooting. So to be honest, this is not bad at all. Come here, you big blob. Well, I think it's time for us to actually go and check out Mass Effect 2. So Mass Effect 2, however, is a bit different beast. Released in 2010, so 3 years after Mass Effect 1, it was very warm welcomed by the Mass Effect franchise fans, and this is actually do this and this and here. Oh, what the hell? Right. And it didn't take the ending, and the ending was so good it could have been better, and again all this whining, and I never understood why. So just for the demonstration purposes, let's just start a brand new game just to get through the paces, look at the graphics, if there's any improvements during the 3 years, and that's basically all there's gonna be. Of course, we now see all the mass relays up close, kind of get a bit more of backstory about them. And again, the lore and the Normandy. I mean, I still don't understand. The only difference when I actually look between Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 3, in general, was basically how you mine the resources. I mean, the camera was a bit better for mining resources on the second and third rather than the first. But it was still feasible. You know, all the minerals and stuff. So I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think we can just skip through the elusive man's talking here. And yeah, obviously this game is also fully maxed out. I'm not holding anything back. I mean, why should I? On a 2010 title, I mean, we've literally done Crysis and Assassin's Creed and Breakpoint and all the new titles, so this is no different. When it comes to graphics, this is, I would say there's not really that much of a difference. The biggest difference in graphic kind of comes with the Mass Effect 3, which we will visit as well. In here, it's kind of more about the storyline in general. And yes, the long expositions, the talking, the filling in on a backstory that, you know, we need the Shepherd and he was against the Geth and stuff like this. I don't know, I mean, this kind of gives the vibe that if you never played Mass Effect 1, but all the fans of Mass Effect will actually tell you there's a new one coming in, the new players will get the backstory. And you kind of need to ease them into a universe they never knew about because they never played the first one. There is an option for all 3 games, Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, to import your load character from the previous game with all apparently the visual looks and stuff like this, and all the choices. However, a lot of people reported that the choices simply doesn't matter. Like the character you spared or that you didn't save, he's actually alive and well, and you know, he's not actually in any mortal danger or whatnot. So that was a bit weird. At the same time, I kind of expected that to happen because if you are new to the genre, you need to kind of learn the ropes first, right? So if you play the first one, you are expecting that certain choices will work out. If you are a new one who just starts the game without importing, you need a different character arc or story. But since the story is the same, how can you please both sides? So this is the difference when it comes to the story writing. And yes, some people argue that 3 years should be enough to make this happen. At the same time, I would say it's not really that easy of a task. Considering all the models, all the possible scenarios, all the storyline branches, how it actually goes out in every direction, it's not really that easy to just, you know, make it all work. When you look even for the movies or the books, even movies and books have rather big things or knowledge gaps between the stories that technically should be there. And we're talking about the game, so it's not really all that bad. I still remember that I was watching a video about World of Warcraft convention where one of the guy who basically was community elected lore guy who knew everything, he was asking straight up questions to the story writers of World of Warcraft, asking how come if this guy did this in this quest, why didn't it branch out to this particular quest 120 hours later? And the story writers couldn't actually tell him or give him a straight answer, and the reason is being too much information, very hard to keep track of. And considering that not many people really plays third-person interactive shooters, I mean, I think you can just skip on a piece of a pie, or maybe even 2 pieces of pie, because a new player will never know what he's missing out, and the old ones, they already bought the game. I mean, I can't really say that Refunds was a big hit back in 2010. It was more about, hey, I don't like it, well, then don't play it. And people play it. They always play. Obviously, one of the unfortunate things that EA has implemented, and that's why everybody hates them, because they know, you bought it, you paid for it, you will play it. I mean, nobody throws out money and doesn't play a single game he owns. Probably only a couple of people who are doing benchmarks and comparisons. I'm not talking about anyone specific, obviously. But in general, when I was first playing Mass Effect 2, this very beginning of the story, and I of course did play the first one, and this was kind of like a revisiting it, I was pretty surprised seeing the Normandy actually being ripped apart and having the opportunity to walk through it. It was pretty grim, because this was my favorite ship. Of course, we do come into the shortcomings of the game once you get the new Normandy, or well, technically the same, and you have to upgrade it, and you never actually use the upgrade, which is pretty stupid, and I really wish I knew it before. So let's look at what we actually have, just for the comparison's sake. So graphics, obviously full HD, and this is all there is. I mean, of course, in 2020, if the graphics card allows, definitely go for 4K or something. I'm pretty sure this game will be completely fine, at least on 4040p. Full HD doesn't really do it justice. It looks good, but as you can see, it kind of seems like frame locked at 50 frames, and as you all know, that's my TV's refresh rate. So something is actually going on behind the scenes, and I can't get rid of it. The GPU is not doing anything. What, 9%? That's basically idle. It's not even boosting as high as it should, so it's definitely taking a day off, or maybe even a whole week. And I must say, this is one of the coolest sections of this game. The first time I played it, you are walking outside of here, and the sound effects that are made, you can hear Shepard breathing and nothing else. It's absolute silence, exactly as it would be in vacuum of space. And you can see the bridge, you can see the galactic map basically spasming in and out, and you understand the level of damage that has happened. You can see all these melted metal beams are still glowing red, and I must say, this really sets the mood. This actually is, I would say, this is how games should be written in 2020. We just don't get this anymore. We get a really cheap backstory and go shoot someone. At least when you were about to shoot someone in Mass Effect, you knew why you were actually chasing that guy for half a galaxy, and then you made your actual choice. So, to be completely fair, it wasn't really that bad. Mass Effect, it did actually tell people how to do their things, so I don't know. This is pretty good.
for another attack.
And of course, the tragic arc of Shepard. And how it all began for Mass Effect 2. We basically do a Red Bull challenge. And I must say that was never recorded, so... Well, yeah. Either way, I'm just gonna let this cutscene play out. We will see how it ends, and then the actual game will begin with Shepard waking up in a hospital, and that's where the arc. But so far, when you look at the graphical fidelity, this game is a bit better when it comes to like effects like lightning, fire, and explosions. Not that much of actual player's character, so... I mean, the facial animations are still not there. The voice acting is pretty decent. But overall, it's about creating this bigger picture feeling, I would say, rather than focusing on little things. And seeing someone just, you know, seeing the ship being exploded, thrown off board, and you know that you cannot actually survive in space, clearly losing oxygen, which is the worst case scenario, and then understanding you're being pulled in by a planet's gravity. Talk about a bad day when you wake up. And yeah, I must say this was pretty controversial, showing someone just burning up in atmosphere. But this is how the games were made. Back in the day when there was no political correctness or games provide... Well, of course, there was parents saying that games promote violence, but those were the times. And this was the golden age of gaming when it comes to it. Not really 2010, but you catch the drift. And I think that's enough for Mass Effect 2. Let's take a look at Mass Effect 3. So Mass Effect 3. A lot of people love this game and even more hate it. I don't know why the Mass Effect series are getting so much hate. God damn it. I kinda like that they actually keep the numbers 1, 2, 3 instead of putting some letters behind it. To be completely fair, this game gave me a fair share of headaches because first of all, it just wouldn't launch. And I don't know why the first ones did and this one didn't. And I'm kind of looking at the EA servers at some point, but it would just randomly crash. So again, the menu is pretty much the same. We do have downloadable content and multiplayer now, but I mean, never played any of that. So checking the options, as you can see, the same options, there's nothing to change. Literally nothing at all. Full HD, full screen, anti-aliasing, and that is it. Literally, there's nothing else. So, I don't know. Guess you just have to go with it. So let's resume it, and I believe that we are actually back on Earth, and we are getting attacked by Reapers. Now, as you can see, there is a bit of a scale and how it looks. So for Mass Effect 3, by the way, fun fact, it was released on 2012, only 2 years after Mass Effect 2. Did it fare well for the graphics? I don't know. I mean, technically it doesn't really look that bad. We do have some effects of the gun. You can see the animation is kind of jerky without any clear cause. I mean, we can still see things. Oh wait, there's a thermal clip. Hold up. And it's gone and disappeared. Some reflection quality, we can see, well, things, people running away from the big ass Reaper. And the fun fact is, if we actually, and we will obviously go here, just following our commander and taking a look of explosions, there's a lot of things I would say we can easily kinda nitpick. Even when I was playing this game, my first question was, so when exactly does the script starts or ends? And it's not really that long off that we actually have to ask this question, which is pretty funny. Everything in here is scripted, so unless you move to a certain point, the cutscenes and things will simply not trigger. I've tested that back in the day, and a lot of other people tested that back in the day, and so far I must say it kinda makes sense. I don't know, older games were made a bit different. There was less movement freedom or less game freedom when it comes to it. But overall, I don't know. This game wasn't really as exciting as the first parts, and I never understood why. Something just felt wrong. It's hard to explain, but basically it was just not there, and I don't know. In my opinion, this could have been better. Also, I think I went to the wrong place. No, I think I need to go there, right? I guess so. Okay, hello. That's one. That's two. Will that unlock the door? Apparently, it will unlock the door. Yep. So as you can see, I mean, even if you couldn't figure out, you wouldn't actually really get stuck. Game kinda tells you what to do and where to go. And in here, I don't know. I mean, even after all these years replaying this, it doesn't really trigger any memories at all. And this is very, very interesting for me, at least. Because the first and the second Mass Effect, it kind of made a bit more sense when it comes to wanting to play a game, and this particular, it just didn't. Oh, that's convenient. Yes, I was mashing every button possible, because I don't necessarily remember all this, and I don't know. It's just weird. There's zero emotions looking at this. I would feel much more emotions playing like Far Cry, like Far Cry 2 or 3 probably, than this, so... all this forced dialogue with the kid who we saw there, and then he runs away, then we have to go, then we see him again. I don't know, even when I first played this game and I was really hyped up for it, because you know it's the Mass Effect, obviously it's like the time when everybody was playing Mass Effect and it was like the first and the best game ever created, never really took off. And people kind of remembers Mass Effect for its combat and biotic powers and things like that, but it was also the first game where the choices that you make actually didn't matter at all. And I remember this while playing through, and there was some impossible choices you just cannot make in any different way, and I was like, well, technically we should be able to do it. From a graphical point of view, apart from all the choices and bitching about the Mass Effect series in general, it does look, I would say, almost as the previous parts. Yes, there is some improved textures. You can see the faces look way better than on the first one. Well, this is not really a good example. But overall, it was, I would say, kind of like a trend of Mass Effect to basically look rather generic without implementing any new things, any new features. Up until the point Andromeda came about. And that kicked a hornet's nest. Well, hornet. God damn it. A nest of horse. Oh wait, I mean a nest of hornets. Oh, we have some thermal clips. I wonder why. I guess we will have to shoot someone. Ammo full? I was just out of ammo completely. So if you look at this, you will never actually see water up close in this game, because you will be basically spending all your time flying in the Normandy. Reapers, pretty much the same thing, unless you are fighting the giant Reaper at the end of all the games, or this is kind of like a mini boss, you will never see one of them up close. So if they make this look very pretty, you kind of get approximate size of a Reaper. And of course, they are just chilling there. Which I'm not entirely sure how they want to assimilate things, if they are basically destroying the things they want to assimilate, but who am I to judge? And I think it's time for us to run. Now, if you look at the scripted sequences here, you see this cruiser. It's shooting at Reaper, and Reaper from time to time is blasting him with this insanely powerful cannon. This is one of the triggered cutscenes. If we stay here, and I've checked, and a lot of people did the same, you can stay here for hours. and they will keep duking it out. Only when we move forward will the cruiser basically, well, get what it deserves. But it just shows how very checkpoint based game it was. So yes, I know, game design 101. Unless you trigger a point, you will not be able to trigger a sequence, because how else you will know the player is actually at that point to see this cool cutscene or this cool stuff. I do believe the game devs have a bit better tools up their sleeve than waiting for you to move your lazy ass or forcing you to move your lazy ass somewhere else. But who am I to judge? And of course, we need to learn about the combat mechanics, obviously, because that will be so very important. Which is basically shoot and cover and shoot mechanics, widely exploited and used in Gears of War. Which was, I would say, in my opinion, the first actual cover and shoot game. But a lot of people disagree. I don't know. I was never really that on for Gears of War, to be honest. I played it through, I like the grim atmosphere, but Mass Effect kind of gives that explore the space vibe more than anything else. And if you played it once, the next time it's kind of a bit weird. You do have a different squad with each game, and you can choose how to kit them out, which powers to do, well, abilities assign and stuff like that. But overall, I would say if you played one, you played them all. And of course, I know this will send a lot of Mass Effect fans into big goddamn fucking outrage. And I don't blame them, because honestly, they also had some certain expectations when it comes to this game. And the game actually never fulfilled it. So, can't really blame the guys who are trying to save any kind of dignity still left after playing this. And I don't know. I think it's actually enough for us to take a look at this. Go shoot generic enemies dies. Let's move forward up until the point where there's no generic enemies, and then we shall proceed. Wherever that is, I would be guessing it's somewhere there, since the enemies were coming from there. Find the radio. Okay, where's the most possible location for radio to be?
I found a radio.
Oh. Exactly where the enemies were. What a coincidence. Okay, I think it's time for us to just let the Reapers take their share and move on to the last and final part of Mass Effect. And here we have it. Mass Effect Andromeda. Now this is something else. The moment this game came out, people lost their shit completely. Specifically the same Mass Effect fans, which is very weird. They said this game has nothing to do with Mass Effect, it is completely atrocious, looks like shit, plays like shit, story is shit, and actually why it was released. I don't know. Maybe because it was actually good. One of the reasons why this game is actually, well, for me at least, bought, and that doesn't happen often, I like the way it looked. I could not give two fucks about the gameplay in general, because it's very simple. I was looking about the overall feel of the game, and in here you can do whatever you want up to a point, but also you can actually adjust graphical settings as you want. So when it comes to Andromeda, there is literally no shortage of graphics that you can or should adjust, whatever the things. So obviously everything is actually set up as high as I possibly can. And obviously vertical sync is off, high dynamic range is on auto detect, and well, that's pretty much all there is. Triple buffering is on. And I don't know why people hate this game. I honestly don't, because I think from all these series, this is one of the goddamn best looking games from Mass Effect series to begin with. Not only it was released on 2017, which is pretty recent when it comes to like the gaming industry, considering the game was in development probably since, well, 2012, and it was teased about the new Mass Effect part over and over again. But overall, this game just looks so damn good. The dialogue choices are complete shit though. This is exactly one of the best examples of what happens if you are trying to make a dialogue and you get a pre-scripted response for the option you chose, and it's just so takes away this amazing immersion. Oh wait, no wait, I'm actually starting to sound like a Mass Effect fan. Screw the dialogue choices. The biggest problem in here, there was no options to be actually a Paragon or Renegade that has been throughout the first 3 parts of Mass Effect. In here you just go with empathetic approach, a logical approach, and something in between, kind of like a mental disease one. And it doesn't really make much difference. I've replayed this game, I would say at least 3 times, and I've tried different options, and I must say for the most part they do not really matter at all. Obviously launching this game straight up after downloading it doesn't really go too well, but looks like the shader count is finally finalized, so we should be moving on fairly soon. So here we are. Now, when it comes to this game fully maxed out, this is a complete different level. Just look at this. The lightning effects, the shadows, the overall reflectiveness, the camera. I mean, and everything else. It's not bad at all. And if there's one thing I goddamn like about this game, is the combat system. The hovering and shooting the enemies who are then, well, shooting back. But this is something that should have been in the first Mass Effect parts and it was never there. The cutscenes is very immersive up to a point when you've seen too many of them and they're starting to actually re-trigger every time you die and you have to just go through them again. And here we have it. So we can go with the, well, you know, let's be empathetic option. We tried. Or better safe than sorry, which is logical, and that's why we shot them. It doesn't matter which one you pick. And this is actually really goddamn bad. I don't know. I would say graphically, there's no way this game would not win in my list. But when it comes to story, I would say that, you know, Mass Effect 2 is definitely the game I kinda liked. Mass Effect 3 was okay in general, but I don't know why. Maybe because of that very emotional opening of Mass Effect 2, of this backstory the Shepard gets, the way you play through the game actually reflects on your character. If you make bad choices or you make renegade choices, all the technology that keeps your body alive, since you were revived by a Lazarus project, actually it kind of goes out. You see cracks on your face and it kind of shows your evil nature. If you do only the good choices and you try to solve as many problems as possible, it basically gives you this nice smooth looking guy who's like fully healed. And I'm not talking about subliminal messages when it goes, you know, kind of like if you're good or bad, then, you know, your soul will heal. I mean, that would be a very nice thing to say, but I don't think that's exactly how it is, so I don't know. Anyway, let's take all the resources. Resource management is pretty straightforward in this game. Reloading your ammo is just standing next to a box. You can use your jetpack for traveling short distances in a bursts, and overall movement and the combat is actually improved, so you can actually have fun as well, not only looking cool. So far I must say, from combat perspective, this is one of my favorite games. And just look how it looks. Of course, it was very taxing when it came down to the actual performance of the game. Not many people could actually max it out. I remember doing a graphical comparison for this game with 980, fully maxed out, and sometimes the frames, even on Full HD, were dipping below 60 because of all this reflection. There's a glass reflection on a helmet in a cutscene. Take that, Crisis Remastered. I don't know. In my opinion, all this is very good example of how far we have come when it comes to game design, how it looks, and other very important things, obviously. Who knows? Maybe this will be finally... Whoa, hello. Actually forgot there's something else that might eat me apart from the aliens. I would definitely prefer this game over the first one, considering if my hardware can actually take it. But this is kind of like a very short and probably not really the best review of Mass Effect games that you've probably seen in your life, but I must say it's pretty much the honest one. If you like the game, buy it and play it. And that should actually go without saying. There shouldn't be any influencers or game reviewers telling you what to do and what not to do and when to buy and when not to buy. It shouldn't be done. You have to basically just take the game yourself, read what it's about, think for yourself, is it something that you want to take a look at, and then decide if you want to buy it, not other way around. And of course, when it comes to people, well, that is rarely the case of how they approach games and playing them. I can't really blame them as well. Now I have to shoot space dogs. I must say that is very unprofessional from a game design perspective. Am I putting in any effort of trying to kill the guy in a combat? No. Why? Because I'm not really playing as a gameplay now, so I'm not really invested. I'm just looking how it looks in general. And to be honest, it doesn't really look how bad. So here you have it. Leave your comments or whatever you have down below, or not leave it. I mean, it's kind of like up to you entirely. And if there's anything else you want me to do with these games, let me know and I'll try to do it. But so far, that's basically, I think, will wrap up the Mass Effect reviews. And I must say, of course, you cannot compare the Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 4 or Andromeda. That's kind of expected. I mean, 2007 against 2017, 10 years of difference. And this is what happens. Well, not bad at all. Thanks for watching, and as always, guys, stay classy.